Hey plant people, I recently posted a tutorial of how to propagate plants in water, and so many of you commented asking me to show you how to transfer those propagations to soil. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I'll be demonstrating using my Monstera deliciosa propagation. The roots on my pothos cuttings are not long enough yet, so they are not ready to be transferred, but the steps and process are going to be exactly the same. This actually leads me to step 1, which is making sure that your propagations are ready for soil transfer. And the way that we check this is by checking how long and healthy the roots are looking on our propagation. I always recommend propagating in clear containers anyway, because you can easily see the root health and progress. In order to tell if your propagation's ready for soil transfer, you want to look at the length of the roots. The roots should be at least 2 inches long. If the roots are less than 2 inches long, which was the case with my pothos cutting, you want to hold off until they are at least 2 inches. Otherwise, they may not successfully transfer into soil. In this case, my Monstera deliciosa cutting has this huge, thick main root. It's probably like 5 inches long, and then a bunch of secondary roots coming off here, so she is definitely ready for some soil. In addition to our propagation, we only need a few other things. You'll want to have a couple sizes of plant pot available so that you can choose one that most closely matches the size of the roots. The biggest mistake that I made when I started doing water propagations was choosing a plant pot that was way too big, so that meant that the soil was staying soggy for a long time, which led some of my propagations to rot. So one of the best things that you can do for your propagation when you're transferring it to soil is to make sure that the plant pot is not too big, which is why I recommend only using 3 or 4 inch pots. The last thing that you'll need is your potting medium. I'm using a chunky soil mix with Fox Farm potting soil, orchid bark, and perlite. You can make your own at home. You can buy soil at the store. Use whatever you want, but make sure that it is well draining. Let's get into it. Because the main root on this Monstera cutting is so thick, and because it's a little top heavy, I am going to be using the 4-inch plant pot, which I think will be perfect. The first thing I'm going to do is the first step is going to be to pour some soil into the bottom of my plant pot to create a nice base. Oh, and you might want to have something underneath. I probably should have mentioned that earlier. So right now my plant pot is about 1/3 of the way full with a chunky soil mix. All I have to do is take my Monstera cutting and put it right in there. This can be tricky with a larger propagation like this one. I'm going to hold her steady with these fingers, take my bag of soil mix, and then fill in from the sides. Not me spilling this literally everywhere. After pouring the soil in, I'm just sort of pushing it around, making sure that it's fully in there. I'm gonna add a little bit more on top because I see that one of the roots is still sticking out. That's literally it. You see how easy that was? The main thing to keep in mind is that the plant is gonna need a little bit of time to adjust to being in soil, and there's a few ways that you can help it. All that I'm gonna do next is water the plant and then keep an eye on it as it's adjusting. Because I use prop drops, which are a type of rooting hormone, when I was propagating the plant, I like to put prop drops in the water when I water my soil transfers. I think this helps them adjust and keep those roots nice and healthy. You don't have to do this, but it will help. Going from there, you would treat it as you would any other house plant, making sure that it's getting some air circulation, some bright and direct light. The only thing that I would say is don't let the soil dry out quite as much between waterings as you would for a standard house plant, because it is transitioning from water. If it dries out completely, that's going to be a nasty shock, and trust me, I've done that with my propagations and they unalive themselves. For water propagations in a 3 or 4 inch pot, I find that I need to water them about once a week, but of course your environment may be different from mine, so I recommend just keeping a close eye on the plant. When you notice the first inch or so of soil drying out, give it a nice watering, but definitely don't water it if the soil is already moist. As your plant is acclimating to the soil, you may notice some minor signs of stress, like a little bit of drooping or even a little bit of yellowing. That is normal, but keep an eye on it. What I like to do is make a note of the date that I transferred the plant to the soil. That way I can track its progress and make sure that it's adjusting properly. So there you go. This process can be used for most water propagations, whether it's a Monstera, a pothos, a begonia, or most other plants. If you guys have any specific questions about the process, feel free to comment them below. And if you're not already following my page, hit that follow button for even more planty tips. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.